Our next speaker is going to be Senator Pratt.
Boy, that's a tough one to follow. Well, members, I thank you for the moment to share some thoughts. I promise I won't go as long as some of our debates or amendments here on the floor. I wondered how I'd feel today. I've sat through a number of these retirement speeches. Would I be happy? Would I be sad? Would I be excited? Would I be content? The answer is yes. When I first arrived in this chamber, I thought I knew what I was getting into. I thought I understood government. I'd served on a school board. I worked for some of the largest companies here in the state, worked in a highly regulated industry of banking where I had to deal with the OCC and other regulators and knew what bureaucracy was like. I had two teenagers. I had one that was a senior in high school and a sophomore in high school. I thought I was ready for this. And then I met Ann Rest and her rule book. Nobody is ready for that. But truly serving here has been one of the greatest honors of my life. I came to this work because I believe in public service, because of something that my mom, a school teacher of 40 years, used to say. Whenever she heard someone ought to do something, she'd look at him and say, "You're someone." And because I love this state enough to sit through hearing committees and hours of testimony on topics I never even imagined I would become an expert in, I know more about wastewater, broadband fiber, workforce pipelines, and thanks to Senator Hoffman, IDEA and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Over the years, I've had the privilege of working on issues that matter deeply to Minnesotans. Some of that work has been very visible and prominent. Some of it's just been behind the scenes. And well, some of it was me getting home at 1 a.m. and trying to explain to my wife that we were debating something that she thought we debated a couple of days ago. But one of the things I'll miss most is the collaboration. We don't always agree, and that's okay. I think this place would be pretty boring if we agreed all the time. To my colleagues, thank you for the debates, the friendships, the moments when we reminded each other not to take ourselves too seriously. To the staff, thank you. You are the support structure that we all rely on. And specifically to my team, those that worked with me, and I won't name them all, both partisan and nonpartisan, you're the best, and you made me better. To my constituents in the Scott County, I had the honor, the privilege of serving the area I grew up in. I showed up in Prior Lake, Minnesota, a small town of about 5,000 people, as a shy kid, and a town that embraced me, a town that encouraged me, a town that made me who I am today. You know, the Gophers were playing football at University of Colorado, and there were probably about 24 Prior Lakers there, all rooting for the Gophers, but they were there for me. They built me up. They had my back. And when I got a little too big for my britches, they were there to remind me about what humility meant. To my wife and family, you've been my rock. You don't always understand what we're going through, but you've supported me doing it. You know, and my wife and friend, when I come home from here, my wife and friends would say, all right, we saw this on the news. Give us the real story. And I always did. So as I step away from the Senate, I do so with a full heart and a continued sense of purpose. Service doesn't end when one chapter closes. It simply shifts. I'm looking forward to new opportunities to contribute, opportunities to take me beyond these desks, but never away from the values that brought me here. Call it future leadership. Call it a new chapter. My wife won't let me call it retirement because she doesn't want me home that much. Minnesota has given me more than I could ever give back. And as I leave this chamber with gratitude, humility, I have an unwavering belief and hope in the future. To my colleagues, we've talked a lot about divine intervention. I truly believe we were all meant here to be here together for a purpose. And I hope we lived up to that purpose. Thank you for the privilege of serving. Thank you for the laughs, the lessons, and the late nights. And thank you for believing, as I do, that our best days are yet ahead. Thank you, Mr. President.
Members,